welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with a H. With me, as always, is my co-host Thavy. What's up, Thavy?
It's no time for a preamble today, Dan.
We got a lot to get through. We got a weird episode this week, and by weird I mean bunch of random crap thrown together.
I want to say it's random.
It's not crap. I can categorize this in groups of three, even though we're doing 4 movies today. Like 3 of them have to do with hunting, kind of. 3 of them are animated, kind of.
That was the original theme.
Yeah.
But the first one, I just simply just want to talk about.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it, really.
I mean, it's Alex Garland, so we got to talk about it.
That's true. It's Alex Garland, it's on brand. Yeah,
Today we are going to talk about 28 years later. Then we're going to do Predator, Killer of Killers. Then we're going to do Lost in Starlight, followed by K-pop Demon Hunters. I'll put in time codes if you want to jump around. It's going to be a difficult episode to brand.
Yeah, who cares? It's just like, we said Asian pop culture.
It's fine.
And whatever we want to fucking talk about, really.
I'll split them up into individual segments on YouTube. We'll get more views that way. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, we're definitely going from one of the shows that's clearly skewed towards like fairly general crowd to like one of the weirdest movies I've probably seen this year so far.
Yeah, this episode will get like more digestible as it goes along.
Yeah, that's it. You're getting your veggies first because you need your veggies.
You need your veggies.
You need to know about the new stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Just before we get started though, Thavy, I have a plug to do. Next month we're celebrating the month of July with John Woo Lai, where we will be looking at 4 John Woo movies, one each week, from the legendary actor John Woo. Legendary director John Woo.
Well, he is an actor as well.
He's in some of his.
He's not the leading man, but
he's in there.
He's
the
bartender.
Yeah. There you go. He's doing a Quentin Tarantino cameo. Yeah. So look forward to that. The videos will be on YouTube, and I will put the audio on Spotify. But if you haven't watched one of our like Jackie January episodes, it's going to be the similar vibe to that. So check out the videos. They'll be a lot of fun. All right, on to the reviews. So let's talk about 28 years later. So I guess we'll do non-spoilers. So this is, of course, the threequel to Danny Boyle's original 28 Days Later movies. The first one was 28 Days Later, which was not 28 years ago. It's 23 years ago, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Would you say that this is almost a quadrilogy if you involve the original Sandra Bullock movie?
Yeah. It's a pretty weird quadrilogy.
I mean, people are so amped up about the tone change. It changed from like a romantic comedy to a zombie film.
Yeah, what happened to Sandy Bullock? Probably got murdered by zombies.
She got murdered by zombies.
She went through all that rehab for nothing.
I'm not sure if I told this story, but I remember in high school, my mate said that his parents went to go watch 28 Days Later without having seen a trailer or anything, and only having seen the Sandra Bullock movie.
Yeah.
And obviously later it's like, oh, must be a sequel to the Sandra Bullock movie. And they were surprised with murderous infected zombie monkeys and zombies in general. Yeah. It's quite a...
I wonder how long it took for them to realize.
I'm surprised. I don't know if they sat through the whole movie, because I think there's a point where you can walk out and get a refund.
Yeah,
maybe. I'm not sure.
I think there is.
Is it 10 minutes?
Probably depends cinema to cinema, but yeah, I think there's generally a policy. I mean, if you Karen hard enough, you're gonna get your money back, aren't you?
I mean, people just walk out of movies even after paying.
I was so surprised that nobody walked out of my screening of 28 years later.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was a small screening, smaller than I usually go to. But I mean, people were moving around a lot, but they didn't leave, from what I could tell.
Yeah, I had a few people move around a lot as well. I went. My screening was a bit bigger. I watched it at High Point on the extreme screen.
Mm-hmm.
Was a pretty good experience. So I watched it again actually just last night at Pentridge, and we only had a couple people just go use the restroom. But otherwise, everyone,
I mean,
no one walked out.
It's pretty gripping movie. So yes, this movie is set 28 years after the original apocalypse, zombie apocalypse. So basically, and this is all in the trailer, like basically Great Britain has been kind of cordoned off and left to fend for itself. So it's gotten all wild. Aaron Taylor-Johnson plays a father character, and Alfie Williams of Adolescence fame plays his son Spike. And they're kind of growing up.
I haven't seen Adolescence. So
I haven't seen it either, but yeah, that's what it's from.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether he got this role off the back of that, because apparently that's a really good show. I don't know if the timing lines up, but I mean, he's really good in this film. So
yeah, he's a good actor.
Tempted me to watch Adolescence. Maybe I probably won't, but anyway, like Aaron Taylor-Johnson's Jamie and Alfie Williams's Spike, they have to go off into the infected zone to do some hunting, and then chaos ensues from there. It's a little bit hard to talk about without spoiling it.
It is.
So if you want to go in fresh, maybe skip ahead to the next thing. But
I'm not sure, like, because you already have like a preconception of the movie because of the first two. Like, it's hang on. Fuck me, it's cold.
Have you got a zombie virus, Thavy?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I'm so dedicated to this review that I've been infected with rage virus sooner or later.
Eating worms and shit.
Well, I feel like my rage virus would just come from like working on movies rather than just being bitten by a monkey. Just getting frustrated with things.
I think it's gonna come from watching Wong Fu videos, Tommy. You're gonna watch that one too many Wong Fu videos, and it's just gonna tick over into rage virus one day.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
You're like strapped to a table like the monkey in the original.
Just watching like Wong Fu videos.
But you said that you might have your preconceptions of this movie. But that said, I recently rewatched 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, and they're pretty different films.
They're very different.
I would say like 28 Days Later is pretty bleak in comparison to 28 Weeks Later. 28 Weeks Later being a bit more action focused. This movie is kind of a blend.
It's very weird.
It's weird.
It's a blend of both.
Yeah. It's action up top and then feels.
What I really like about this movie and what sets it apart from this in the franchise, and honestly, films in general in this genre, maybe not even in the genre, but this film is quite absurd in its tone, which I kind of did not expect. And I found it really, really refreshing.
Okay.
And I'm really glad that Danny Boyle went down that way because obviously attached to writing is Alex Garland, who's one of my favorite filmmakers. But also back in the day, I was a massive Danny Boyle fan. Like I really love, I think, Trainspotting is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Do you like the movie Sunshine?
I do like the movie Sunshine. I think Danny Boyle is one of the most versatile directors out there. Like he's done a couple of kids films.
Yeah.
He's done some dark comedies. He's done some regular like comedies. I think he did Yesterday, which was about like the Beatles sort of
being forgotten or something.
Being magicked out of existence, which I thought was an okay film. It's not his best movie, but still pretty easy to watch. And he did Trance, which was kind of a weird film that we watched in the cinema years ago. And I feel like I was probably too young to really understand that movie, so I do need to rewatch it. But
Slumdog Millionaire, that's a good film.
Yeah, Slumdog Millionaire. I think that's a great movie as well. But he has a very distinct style. A lot of his movies are quite erratic in its editing.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Yesterday. Yesterday is probably his most Hollywood movie.
Okay.
There's a lot of dark humor within his films. And his films are often feature just really good music. He has a very particular taste in music.
Yep.
And you can really tell in this one, he really likes using Britpop music, but music that is often not written for the movie itself, but it's just music that is popular and that he likes.
It's also kind of the era, I guess. Like it tells it tells part of the story kind of sets the scene.
Well, it makes sense in this one because the music is still, it's sort of grounded in a yesteryear, which sort of makes sense because it's telling the story of people who have been quarantined on an island for, 28 years.
Yeah.
And it's got this weird, like the movie starts with this sort of weird optimism to it. And there's a lot of vocals in the score. And I thought, I wonder what bands he got together to make the music. But I think most of the score is done by a group or a person. I'm not sure, but they're called Young Fathers, which I find just to be like a funny band name for some reason. But yeah, there's a lot of vocals in the score. And when the tension ramps up, the music is so good. It is so weird. It's so like anxiously driven, energetic, a lot of percussions, and sort of quite like unsentimental. And you can kind of tell the difference when, like, I was watching a little bit of 28 Weeks later today, which I think is a great sequel, like a very surprisingly good sequel. But you can just tell the difference in terms of the music. And I'm not trying to besmirch 28 Weeks later's score, but it is just not as interesting as this one.
Well, I think the film overall kind of has less personality than this one and even 28 Days Later.
But I mean, the music itself, it's given birth to, the really strong opening in 28 Days Later with East Hastings by Godspeed You Black Emperor. But then it also gave birth to the original score song, In a House in a Heartbeat, which was sort of ubiquitous in that sort of late 2000s, early 2010s. Anytime anyone was making like a spooky video or a game, they would always play that song.
Yeah, right.
And I remember listening to that song like so much. Like it's just a great song. It's so like pulse poundingly guitar driven, percussion. It's just awesome. It's so haunting and it's so intense. Just like the ramp up of it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to merit in 28 years, especially there's a certain sequence. It's not really a spoiler, but they're kind of trapped in the house and they're fighting infected. And then there's like this sort of little screams that are in the song.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it with my mate last night, we were talking about it. We're like, it was the screaming part of the song, or is that like the screaming that's from the zombies? And when you listen to the soundtrack, because I listened to the soundtrack last night, and it's actually part of the song as well.
Right, cool.
It honestly reminds me of our good friends Ming and Sarah, who did the soundtrack for The Sadness.
It does sound like a
just
score.
this kind of yeah. It's just kind of erratic and weird, and it really stands out. Like I think the music in this film is top tier. It is just so different.
And when you're dealing with as many tonal shifts as what happens in this film, the music is pretty important to carry the audience through these tonal shifts. That said, this film has been pretty divisive. I mean, critics seem to love it universally.
Critics like it, yeah.
But audiences are pretty divided about it. From what I can tell, it seems like if you don't like to be surprised, then you don't like this film. But if you don't mind being surprised, then you might like this film.
I mean, like, yeah, I think the reason maybe I wanted to talk about this, and this is I think this segment is gonna make me sound like really
Thavy's gonna go full wanky right here, okay? Just a heads up.
I don't really care, to be honest. I mean, everyone kind of calls me like a snob anyway, so that's really fine. I don't really care. Yeah. Like, look, part of me, I don't want to be the guy that gatekeeps and be like, oh, you should watch these movies and that movie. I get a bit passionate when I talk about like films, I get worked up because I just love movies in general, But I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, you haven't seen like a Tarkovsky movie? Are you like a fucking idiot or something?
You're usually not that guy, but here we go.
Yeah, because look, and this is even going to be a comment about some of the other films that we're going to talk today. Films where I didn't expect much and maybe thought I wasn't going to like, but I can admit when I've enjoyed something and I will give it the credit for it. And I can watch a dumb movie as well, Yeah. But there's sometimes, just with how open the internet is, there's so many uninformed or I guess movie illiterate takes about this movie, this movie that is very fresh in its delivery. And I can understand if you don't like it because it's fucking weird. But there's been some really stupid takes that I've seen. And for some reason the anti-woke crowd is sort of like going against this movie or sort of celebrating. Apparently it's a box office failure. I've just seen some of the thumbnails. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And then a lot of the criticism is they didn't like the ending. They think it's boring and that there's no story and no plot, which I don't accept that criticism.
Yeah.
Because this movie is far from boring.
There's so many plots happening in this film. There's more than one plot happening in this film. Like, that criticism doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing, because people don't understand the difference between no story or no plot. But when they think something is bad, they can't sort of articulate it.
It's
so
kind of like a
default
criticism.
Yeah. Oh, it's got no story. Oh, it's boring. Oh, yeah. Like, and this is a valid criticism to the film as well. There is a lot of suspension of disbelief that you have to go, except some of the plot points.
Are you talking about the dongs, Thavy?
No, not the dongs.
Okay.
There's I mean, I think there's certainly some stuff that feels off.
Yeah, sure.
There's also this sort of like comic book vibe to the movie that I found quite interesting, because Alex Garland is a big fan of video games and comics, surprisingly.
He did the Dread movie.
Yeah, he did the Dread movie. He said a lot of this film was actually inspired by The Last of Us, and you can see it, especially a lot with like the arrows and whatnot. And I would say that this movie's better than The Last of Us series, to be honest. It's not a story about the usual humans are the real monster kind of thing.
Not yet,
because that's been done, and it's not probably, and it's not as dour as other zombie movies, and it's actually quite heartfelt.
Yeah,
towards
and I would say optimistic as well.
It is optimistic. I think me and Marcus were talking about this last night, and we're saying Danny Boyle is at that age where he's done so many movies and has worked with Alex Garland so much that he can just break the rules. Like, I don't think he really gives a shit.
Yeah. It's like similar to when we talked about Sinners, how it's just like...
Yeah, Sinners, yeah.
You get to the point in your career where you can just like take a risk and they just let you do it for some reason.
Yeah. I had to give it to... Who was it Fox? Who's the big company distributor? Sony, yeah. So I have to give props. Oh, yeah, I guess we're covering 2 Sony products today.
There you go.
I had to give Sony props. I mean, they fucked up with their Spider-Man universe, which I don't really give that much of a shit about, to be honest. Well, their villain universe anyway. But I have a feeling that they let Danny Boyle do a lot with his own vision for it and kind of just go for it, because I can definitely see points in the movie where they're like, oh, I don't know, like, do you think you could change this and that? Like,
their only mandate was that it must have Kraven the Hunter in it.
That's true.
We must link it to Spider-Man somehow.
We must link it to Spider-Man. That's the second one that comes out.
I think Danny Boyle is also at the age where, he is making like more optimistic films now. It's like not always brimstone and fire, although we'll have to wait for the sequel to really determine that.
Well, he's not directing the second one though. It's a different person.
True. But these were shot back to back, so I guess he is at least some way involved in the second one, even if he's not directing it. Apparently, it might be a bit darker. And I think the ending of this film kind of leads towards a more darker sequel, I guess.
Yeah. We probably won't talk about the ending in this one because it is quite... I want people to make up their own minds about their ending. It's really the ending that is quite divisive about this movie, I think.
Yeah.
But there's just so many just normie takes online, and it's just kind of like I know people are entitled to their own opinion, but it's also, I mean, it reminds me of that story that I might have said in one of the episodes where I was at a party and this guy just walks up, or he didn't walk up to me, but we're talking about movies, and he said, "Oh, all Asian cinema is bad." Or all Asian movies are bad. And then I asked him why. And he said, oh, yeah, the thing about the way they talk and then it comes out in English is wrong. And he wasn't like smart enough to articulate what dubbing meant. So it feels like I'm watching a series of reviews that are just this guy reviewing the movie. So a lot of the movie the negative reception seems to stem from the tone is weird. I don't understand this movie, therefore I don't like it. So we've sort of gone to like this sort of era of cinema retention where, I mean, like you and I said, like people can't just fucking sit still anymore and watch a damn movie, you know? And because we're fed so much of this formula from Netflix shows and like Disney shit that they're expecting formula and they're expecting to understand it, right? So when they see something that is generally experimental, it's not that they like, I mean, it is that they don't like it, but they'll say like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And they'll say that it's boring or whatever, but it's not quite right.
Yeah.
And I know that this film apparently has been more well received outside of the US, like Australian audiences and British audiences like it a lot more. But when it comes to like most of the normies, like to put it bluntly, most of the normies come from like the US, right? So most of them aren't watching like a lot of foreign cinema, and foreign even to the point of just watching even a British movie.
Right.
It's very much like, oh, I didn't understand this character's motivation. No, it's not even that. It's unrealistic that a boy with an arrow can kill zombies when trained soldiers can't. It's just nitpicking like plot stuff, but they've forgotten how to. They're looking at films as more of an entertainment aspect
it's more of a cinema sins kind of vibe.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, what are you seeing on screen and how are you making it feel? Like people do talk about the cinematography. Maybe they mention the editing a little bit, but no one ever really talks about the film as like a whole, you know? Some people talk about the acting, but I haven't even really seen anyone like talk about how good.
No.
Is it Alfie Williams?
Yeah. Alfie Williams.
Yeah. Like he's fantastic.
Whole cast is Ralph Fiennes is in this movie.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes.
Jodie Comer.
I love that guy.
They're all good.
I think everyone does a really stellar job.
I think the main criticism is like it's just not what people were expecting. And like I agree with you. I think I really like this film. Like everything about it, including the tonal shifts, but I don't think it's impervious to criticism. I think probably
no. I think it's valid. I think you can be critical, but then when you start like nurturing an environment where people are just damning a movie and they're like, well, I'm just not going to go see it now. Like I would encourage people to make up their own minds about this movie.
Keep an open mind.
There seems to be just a grand culture of stomping a movie down. And like I'm guilty of it sometimes. Like I talk shit about Disney stuff all the time, you know. I might have enjoyed watching some shit about like Snow White suffering or whatever, but I will also have to admit that I think that movie is probably not as bad as everyone's saying it is. It's just there's a lot of like
you enjoyed the Minecraft movie, Thavy.
I enjoyed the Minecraft movie. I'm gonna admit I enjoyed the Minecraft movie.
What's wrong with cinema?
But like people they can't really go against their views. They're not allowed to change their mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I think a big example seems to be, I mean, with Prey, right? Like I think there's a really popular movie reviewer, like Critical Drinker, who was sort of saying, oh, you know, it's going to be kind of like feminist propaganda or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he's like, he watched it. He actually kind of liked the movie, but like his audience is sort of expecting him to berate the movie. So he's giving the movie praise, but kind of just looking for little cracks to just talk the movie down. So it seems to me that 28 years later gets lumped in with this war of just like bringing just any kind of cinema like down, which kind of like annoys me, especially when I sort of view a lot of these films as, you know, like kind of like a personality of a person. Like I think there's a lot of flaws in this movie, and I think people have a right to say that, you know, the movie is tonally off or some things don't make sense, but sort of experiencing it as a piece of art as well is sort of lost on people.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not like it was like in the 70s where you could release a movie like did you know like Koyan Niskatsi?
No.
Now this is real like cinema snobbery right here. But like it's like a poetic documentary, and it's just a series of shots of like cityscapes, and there's kind of an overall message to it. And then those filmmakers did another film called like Samsara and Baraka. These are poetic documentaries, is what they're classified as.
Yeah.
They have no clear narrative, but there's a theme. And I think these are good movies. And these were popular movies, so people can go watch them, you know, and like apparently quite successful when they were released. You try to do that shit now, this movie's boring. It's a waste of time. I hate the character. There are no characters, so I hate it. It's the worst movie of my life.
Well, I think this is because this film falls into a critic's film that is released widely to the mainstream. That's why it's kind of receiving. It's kind of like there's always a war between like mainstream audiences and critics. You know, So that's what this is basically. Sometimes like there'll be a movie for critics, but like normies don't see it. So you get overwhelming praise for the movie. But this isn't the case for this movie. This is a movie that everybody has seen, seemingly, and it's led to this divide. Yeah, I mean, like, it is what it is. You can dislike it if you want, but I really liked it. I enjoyed, how heartfelt it was. That was really unexpected. The end is really unexpected. I like the level of world building as well. All the cinematography. I like all the little character moments as well. There's like this Swedish guy in the film that's he like appears and he's kind of funny. Yeah, and then he exits the film.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah.
It's sort of not really, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not important. But I do hope that it does kind of get a bit more traction and we do get eventually.
Well, it has a bit more of a cult following.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a Danny Boyle film. He's always done like strange stuff. And like I said, like I haven't really liked a Danny Boyle film a lot for a long time. I watched Trainspotting 2 when I was in Japan.
Yeah.
And I sort of didn't really know what to make of it because it was so different from the first one. It had more of a drama / thriller mood to it rather than the dark comedy tone that the first movie had. So I was still a bit confused. And then I think he did, he did Yesterday, which I said was okay, but I didn't love. But I hadn't really like loved a Danny Boyle film for a long time. So even though I respect him as a director and I still really like his work, I will still be like, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I can still acknowledge the deeper themes or the technicalities or the craft. I think that's what maybe I was trying to say. It's like a lot of people who just like don't really know the craft of going into a film, because sometimes story and character is not everything, which is a very odd thing for someone who enjoys writing screenplays to say, but it is a visual medium as a whole, you know?
Yeah.
It's what you're feeling when you're watching the movie and how like the images that are being portrayed along with, you know, the audio aspect of it, how it affects you. And there's a lot to discuss. Like I've had a fair few discussions about this film with people since, I mean, I've watched it twice now, you know? So yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of, I think there needs to be someone out there who is defending this movie a little bit because there's not, like on the internet, it seems to be sort of like a universally panned film. There's some people giving it good reviews. I think Charlie Penguins probably has the best take on it, but even he didn't love the movie either. I think he said it was weird. So out of all the normie takes, his is probably the best. But I don't know. I just felt quite strongly about this movie because I think it's really good. I think there's a lot of effort that went into this movie, and it's quite innovative as well, you know.
They used all those iPhones. They got the Matrix rig and strapped a bunch of iPhones to it. That's pretty innovative, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like they did the kind of what Danny Boyle would call the poor man's bullet time. It's when like they would shoot an arrow for like an infected, and then it would sort of like 360. It would pause and it would just show the other different angles. Yeah. So that was a really cool thing to see.
He did a bunch of new stuff for this film. And it came out as an interesting film, to say the least. Go watch it. Go make up your own mind. You know, give it some money.
Yeah.
don't listen to all the normie critics on the internet. Just go watch it.
Yeah, listen to us. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think we really even need to talk too much about the spoilers. I think people should just
I think we can move on, right?
Yeah. I think that's my...
You got to add your system, Thavy? Yeah?
Maybe. We'll see. I might have forgotten something because but yeah, just go watch it. I don't think it's my favorite movie of the year. I think I still like Bring Her Back more, but just go watch it for something that is just unique. Enjoy the craft of it, because I think there's a lot here that is to be admired. Yeah.
And look forward to the sequels, which we hopefully get. All right, shall we move it along?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about maybe the less interesting movies. Nah, they're good. I liked all of them.
Predator, Killer of Killers. So this is a animated film. It's an animated science fiction action horror anthology film directed by Dan Trachtenberg, set in the Predators universe. So this is on Disney Plus or Hulu. But yeah, it consists of 3 stories. Are we doing spoilers?
Yeah.
It's not a super spoilery movie. There's like a little bit, but
it's not really a spoilery
I reckon
movie.
If you haven't watched it and you want to, skip ahead. But we might just do full spoilers for this one. So it does contain 3 stories based around 3 different warriors from 3 different time periods. And at the end, all these 3 stories kind of join into the one epilogue story. So the first story is called The Shield, set in Scandinavia in the year 841. And the lead is a Viking warrior named Ursa. Her Viking band is trying to destroy this other tribe of barbarians and get to their leader Zoran, who murdered Ursa's father when she was a child. So she's trying to get a big revenge on him. And then when she's about to get him, who should intervene but a big predator?
Yeah, and then they fight.
Yeah, they have a fight. They have a fight in the ice. Pretty good. I like this is probably my favorite character of the 3.
Yeah. I think we talked about this in one of our news segments, but I was a little bit skeptical about this movie.
Yeah.
I thought the art style looked too cartoonish for what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
It sort of felt like
it's got that Spider-Verse feel to it.
Yeah, that sort of Saturday morning feel to it. I think one of the stories actually does have more of a Saturday morning feel to it. But when I was watching this one, The Shield, it usually starts off with it did start off with a big sort of ambush where Ursa is taking, her son along with her and her band of really very skilled warriors as well, and they go and storm like the village, and there's this one really elongated fight scene. It's sort of done in a one take manner.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it with like the Sunman the other night, I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then the fights kept getting more and more creative. Like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And oh, this is cool. Yeah. And oh, this is cool. And I was
kind of like a Mad Max escalation.
Yeah. And I just really enjoyed, to be honest, I sort of enjoyed that fight scene maybe more than I did the Predator when she fights the Predator.
Yeah.
Because eventually the Predator comes. Well, the son takes revenge for the mother instead.
Oh, yeah.
And because the guy's like, I don't remember. He has his M. Bison speech where he's like, to me, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Obviously not in that manner. But then he gets killed. But then the Predator comes and kills the rest of the band, except for the son and the mother. And then the Predator and her have like a big scuffle over ice and whatnot. And
it's a big predator with like some kind of pulse fist.
Yeah.
That's his main weapon of choice.
I sort of like how they stylistically use the predators to represent like symbolically each of the time periods, because I guess in the second one there's like sort of a
kind of a ninja one.
Yeah. Because like if I'm gonna be a generic normie critic, you'd be like, oh, why wouldn't the predator just shoot everyone instead from a distance? It's like, yeah, you can do that, but like, is that fun to watch? So I mean, like, fine. Because
I guess like I don't really know that much about the Predator lore and mythos, but there are supposed to be like different kinds of predators, and I guess they're the idea is like their technology evolves as they hunt things. So like it makes sense that they have different weapons, and it makes sense that they have kind of different statures as well because there's different kinds.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them is a big nerd for airplanes, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I really like this story, The Shield. I like how in each of the stories they kind of use the Predator's technology against them, which is like something that carries on from the movies as well. But this story is followed up by The Sword, which is set in 1609 Japan. So it's more like a samurai feudal Japan kind of story. Two brothers, Kenji and Kiyoshi. Again, it's kind of like a revenge situation. I think Kenji is the good one. Yeah, Kenji is the good one. And Kiyoshi, he kind of like betrays his brother when they were young in order to become the lord of the region. And Kenji is forced out, and then he does some training and then comes back to take a big revenge on Kiyoshi. But then who is there to interrupt? But
a ninja predator.
A ninja predator.
Yeah.
This one was cool.
I enjoyed this predator fight more than the one in The Sword. Is it The Sword? The Shield. The Shield, sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I also want to say it's funny how in The Shield, they're speaking like Norwegian or Nordic at first, and then it does that sort of angle where it's like, okay, switch to English.
Yeah,
now.
like the
it's like,
Tom Cruise Valkyrie style. Switch.
Yeah, I always kind of find it quite funny, but The Sword has no dialogue except the start and the end of it, and it's all in Japanese. So I was quite surprised, like how are they going to do it in this one? So I was just waiting for the moment where they would switch to English. But they didn't. So like
they don't talk much. Cool. Those Japanese.
Yeah, the infiltration aspect of this story is quite fun, where he's being a ninja and taking out the guards. It's not as cool as The Shield, but I think it's sort of counterbalanced with a really fun predator fight. There's a lot of hopping around the typical Shogun Japanese towers, and lots of jumping from heights,
running across rooftops.
A lot of very strong violence. Like this show is pretty damn violent.
We haven't really talked about the gore. It was a lot gorier than I expected.
Yeah, good on him for that as well. Like there's a lot of people getting split in half, getting split quarters, getting limbs blown off, and getting half their heads cut off, and getting other parts of them ripped out of them. And yeah, it was cool. I was just like, damn, this is like Kid Thavy's like dream to see something like this.
I mean, I don't think the art style kind of lends to an uncomfortable watch. So even though it is quite gory, it's like pretty easy to digest at the same time.
Yeah, it's quite cartoony. Yeah. And the Predator design was fun. I liked his gadget, his like little, I guess, ninja grappling hook.
Oh yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah. That was kind of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's like it worked well with the shinobi style of fighting where they're like chucking daggers at each other and dodging projectiles. Pretty good stuff.
The brothers, like, to quickly wrap it up, the brothers sort of, I guess they forgive each other, and then one of the brothers sort of sacrifices himself for the ninja brother and takes like a fatal hit from the predator, but then they work together to kill the predator. So yeah, that was really cool. And then there's a typical I really liked the sort of the ninja stare off or the samurai stare off at the end, where I think like the audience knows that it's the predator that's pinned against this tree, but it seems like they're going to go and try to kill each other, but then they just like kill the predator, and the very classic sort of anime delayed spray comes out like on the predator's green blood. Yeah, it's really cool.
Very cool. Great imagery.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
This story is followed up by the last story, which is The Bullet. So this is set in 1942, and it centers around John J. Torres, who was drafted into the U.S. Navy. He's kind of a fighter pilot, I guess, but kind of like a lower tier fighter pilot where he's more of a mechanic than a pilot at the moment.
Yeah.
But then he's kind of thrusted into the situation because the squad gets under attacked by a predator in an airplane.
It's
He's probably the weakest of the three.
This one was the least interesting. This is the one that made me sort of lower my overall rating of the film, because the first two are so strong, and then it's just like, oh, it's just this kid. And this one felt, because of the the story design and the protagonist design, this one felt like a Spider-Verse story.
Yeah.
Like it felt like I was watching Into the Spider-Verse while I was Predator. And I like those movies.
Something for the kids.
Yeah, it is. And this one's basically centered around a dogfight. And therefore, like, a lot of the choreography is not as fun to watch. Like, I think the idea of it is really cool.
Yeah.
Just the whole dogfight aspect of it, and it's different.
Yeah.
But
I like the idea of seeing a predator in a vehicle, because they must have vehicles, and there must be like those predators that prefer using vehicles, but we've never really seen it in movies.
yeah.
So
They're
I
like
think
the
that
Porco Rosso predator, I guess.
yeah. I like the idea of it, but yeah, you're right. It's not as interesting to watch, like visually, I think. Yeah, and they couldn't really do much about that, I feel.
Yeah. And so this one felt to me like I was watching a kid's film.
Yeah, they did as much as they could. Like people are getting cubed, people are getting like their heads sliced off still.
I think there's like little like splashes of it, but it kind of felt tonally inconsistent at this point. Where like I'm seeing like a dogfight that I'd watch, you know, like in Porco Rosso, then someone like blah, like their head just gets blown up by like a spear or something. I was like, oh damn. And like I mean there's one of the original like all-time favorites, what's his name? Michael Biehn is like the captain. So he voices the I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
has he been in a Predator movie? He hasn't. No, he's
just Alien.
Just Alien.
Oh no, just Terminator. Yeah. Oh, and Alien. Of course, Alien. Jesus Christ. Yeah. He was. Yeah. So now he's been in each of like those three. So
he's entered the three characters that have been murdered by a Predator, an Alien, and a Terminator. There was Lance Henriksen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, who's that other guy? Bill Paxton, of course.
Oh yeah, Bill Paxton.
And now Michael Biehn. Well, good on you, Michael Biehn. You've joined the club. Yeah, I mean, like, again, the main character uses the Predator's own technology against him.
This one's a little bit like, even though I was criticizing this before, but because this is not as thematic a movie, it's like, I don't think that would work. It's the whole, he like turns his engine off to like hide himself from the heat in his jet. But I don't think that would work because you are sort of plummeting towards like Earth, right? For the atmosphere.
Right.
So you're still going to have heat on your jet.
Yeah.
Like it would have been funny. It's like, I'm going to turn my engine off. And it just gets blown up anyway. It's like, oh, there he is. And then that's the end of that story. He actually doesn't make it into the climax. But no, like, I guess this is where you suspend your disbelief. And it's like, look, I know this is a flaw in the movie. You take it into consideration, but then you kind of move on, you know? I don't think it's a big deal.
I didn't think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. But yeah.
But he wins anyway.
He eventually, he just wins and it's all good. But then they all it's revealed that they've all been captured on a Predator spaceship, and then they all have to fight each other to the death.
Typical Predator dick move. Yeah, even though they won, they still get captured and put back into the ring. These guys, I mean, they're supposed to be sportsmen, but they're not really. Like any moment there's a chance they might lose, they decide to blow themselves up with a nuke. They're the worst. These predators.
Maybe they're like, it's just how society works. It's just like corrupt predators, you know, they don't give a fuck. It's like, hey, I'm gonna lose. This is gonna blow up the earth now. Kind of
oh, you won, did you? Well, into the cryogenic freezer with you. We're gonna take you with us.
Very anti-honor. But yeah, this fight scene was pretty cool. I did find the American kids sort of annoying. It's just like, I kind of don't want to listen to you talk anymore.
He's plucky, Thavy. You can't have three dour people trying to work together. You got to have the heart of the team. He brings them all together and gets them to work together. He's integral, Thavy. Otherwise, they would have just killed each other, which they almost do.
Maybe they should have. Maybe that's a subversion of expectation. They actually do kill each other.
Well, I like this because like when it's first revealed that they're put into this situation, they've all got bombs around their necks and they're forced to kill each other in front of a buttload of predators. I'm like, how the hell are they going to get out of this situation? Because it's the kind of movie where you kind of know that they are going to get out of the situation, but like the odds are so against them that I was kind of like, how? And then it happens, like, and it all kind of makes sense. And I think
Well, they have bombs on their necks until they don't.
Well,
It's like,
yeah.
hey,
I mean, like
figured it out.
they established John's mechanic skills early in the film, so it kind of makes sense that he's the one to be able to bypass all that. And like they also established
But
that
still,
everything is controlled with the arm thing on the Predators. So like when he gets the severed arm from that dude, he's able to unlock them. So that makes sense as well. I thought it all came together pretty well.
As someone who probably doesn't speak alien or anything like that,
He just
I
tapped
assume-
buttons, Thavy. He just tapped buttons until it worked.
What if he presses self-destruct?
Yeah, he presses the nuke button.
So again, like, yeah, I didn't let it bother me that much, to be honest. It is definitely a plot contrivance, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's true because they obviously have established him as being intuitive mechanic, but there are some aspects of it where it seems like they make him seem like he's not that intuitive because he flies his plane, but some of it's still falling apart. So
Yeah.
is he still like learning? Like I was a bit confused by that. Like I didn't know whether or not they were suggesting that he's actually still shit at mechanics. Because when he's flying the plane and I think the gear like breaks, I thought, so he doesn't actually know what he's doing.
No, but then he uses his intuition to beat the Predator.
He uses intuition. Yeah.
So like they all learn a lesson within each of their stories, and that lesson kind of comes back into play in the epilogue for each of them.
Well, Ursa learns that revenge is not a good way to go about things.
Yeah,
she sacrifices herself, but I think she's still alive. You don't see them kill her.
Yeah, she's in cryogenic freeze stasis at the end of the film.
Yeah, that's right. Kenji. What is that, Kenji?
Yeah.
I was gonna say just some random Japanese name. Is it Akira? Is it Toshiro?
Sato-san? Yeah.
Is it Yamada? Anyway, he gets his arm blown off.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, but I reckon he'll have like some kind of cool cybernetic arm if they make another one.
Yeah, probably.
Which I think they might, because I think this one was quite popular. And yeah, the kid, he will probably just have to navigate his way back to Earth.
He flies away. He flies away, but they all go to hunt him. So they're like, he flies away, and then all the predators are like, "Yay, time for a hunt!" And they go after him. So who knows whether they get away or not?
and then you sort of see a little cameo from the chick from Prey. I forgot her name, but she's like, oh, so she's been cryogenically frozen.
Of course, because she won that fight. So of course the predators had to kidnap her.
Yeah. and then they'll eventually, I don't know, bring her to the modern day somehow, which will be in the next Predator, where I think it's going to be told from the point of view from a young predator, I guess. Yeah. So that will be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, you think Naru's going to be in that movie?
Well, I assume so. Like, why? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just showing her.
Depends how much shit they've planned for this universe.
I mean, I know that they sort of used to show stuff in the 90s and tease at things, but they never actually really did it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true because, I mean, in Predator 2, you saw the alien, and then they did make Aliens vs. Predator, which was not a very good movie.
Happens all the time. Like they'll chuck in a cliffhanger and then nothing will come of it. It's still happening to this day.
I'd like to see what's her character's name? Naya. Naru. Yeah, I'd like to see Naru come back. I quite enjoyed her character. I like Prey. Yeah. I think that was a good movie. Yeah, it
was good.
Maybe not as good as Covenant, but I think it was a good movie.
Covenant?
Yeah.
Romulus,
yeah.
I mean, I was skeptical about this film going into it because I liked Prey enough, but I don't think it was super innovative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed this film. I enjoyed it a lot. I think there's not much to it in terms of depth, but I think they did a great job with like the world building, and the action scenes are super well choreographed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just really interesting.
I think that whole Viking, that's probably like my favorite action sequence.
Yeah, they had
the Viking where they're not actually fighting Predator.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite one. I think just really well choreographed. Yeah, just really cool. But yeah, I'd recommend this movie. There's definitely not as much to say really. I think it's a very simple movie, very digestible. Just go watch it. Bit of fun.
Yeah. All right, cool. Shall we talk about another very simple, very digestible movie, Thavy? Lost in Starlight. So this is a Netflix animated film, the first Korean animated Netflix film, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it centers around Nanyang, who is an astronaut who wants to go to Mars. Her mum was an astronaut and she was part of like a failed mission. So Nanyang kind of has trauma based on that, but her dream is to go explore space still. So that's her whole deal. But then she meets a cool musician named Jay who fixes her record player, and they fall in love. So that happens as well. Yeah, so good looking film, I will say that.
Good looking film. Yeah. I didn't know much about this movie. I didn't know Kim Tae-ri, who is the voice of the lead Nanyang. So yeah, I was looking forward to it, and I was pretty much drawn to the art style of this film.
Yep.
I'm a big sucker for that Makoto Shinkai style of animation.
It is Makoto Shinkai-esque.
Very, very Makoto Shinkai.
But it's set in Korea, so it doesn't look as good. Yuck.
I think no. Wait, I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
All right.
I think the world is really well built. In this movie.
So it's set in the future. So there is some progression in the technology. There's like holographic advertising going on. I thought all of that stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah. Like I think this movie does suffer a little bit from. It suffers from being too short. So there's not as much time to build that really deep romance. Like it's a believable romance, and it's a very fun to watch romance. It's very cute. It very much reminds me a lot of there's a lot of like mid 2000s Japanese like romance dramas that I watched when I was studying a lot of film school stuff. I'm not sure if you know like Heavenly Forest or Crying Out Loud in the World, but a lot of those movies had this kind of tone to it.
Sure.
And it is arguable that like, it is kind of a Makoto Shinkai ripoff in a sense. And I think, there's just not enough retention between the main characters. But I think what really makes this film stand out and what really makes me really, really like this film is the visuals are spectacular. Like the visuals and the universe that they've built. You often see sci-fi that has this kind of world is always like a dour, grim, like a cyberpunk dystopia.
Yeah, everyone's really gross, like in Mars Express or something like that. Yeah,
Mars Express was the closest to like, oh, this seems like a cool world, but it's a thriller. Whereas this one, like it's kind of, if you really think about it, it's not really science fiction because it's not really like, I mean, science fiction is a bit broader these days because it's not really sort of a commentary about, like the hubris of man or the dangers of, messing around with science.
Yeah, this is more of a character piece that is set.
It's more like a sci-fi fantasy, I think. So that's kind of more what Star Wars is. It's like a sci-fi fantasy. It's not really like a commentary on anything. Where Dune, I would say, is more science fiction because there's a stronger thematic element to it. But this film, like I watched it at first and then I talked to you and Boone about it and you guys had a much lesser opinion about this movie.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh, maybe this movie is actually not that good. But then when I rewatched this movie and I was just taken aback again by how vivid a lot of the animation is and just how much detail there is into this world.
Yeah.
And that might have led to the detriment of other aspects of the film not being focused on. Like maybe the narrative is not as strong. But every like frame in this film has so much detail and it's just such a nice world. It's what I hope our future is going to look like. Our future is probably more going to be like maybe like a Blade Runner world where it's kind of everything's fucked.
I mean, I don't think we're that far off this kind of world, especially in countries like Seoul and countries like South Korea, I should say.
Yeah, and China, I guess. China is pretty much there.
Yeah.
They're quite futuristic.
But yeah,
now.
like I said, this is more of like a character piece that's set in like a future world, a slightly future world. My main issue is that it feels like two character pieces that don't really connect that much. Like, I would have probably preferred if it just focused on Nanyang's story rather than shoehorning a romance if they weren't going to develop that romance or connect it in any way. Like you said, it was kind of like off-brand Makoto Shinkai. And it is, because like Makoto Shinkai, they're beautiful movies as well. But you know, the narrative works in a way that this doesn't. The narrative kind of, all of the elements, they connect to each other and they have a purpose to each other. Whereas this, it's like Jay's story and Nanyang's story, they don't really connect in any way. So it just feels like you kind of foregoing this really interesting story in Nanyang about like trauma and like her trying to find something that she knows is lost, right? And kind of sacrificing a lot for that. But then you also got Jay's music stuff going on, which is kind of like, I think it's kind of just there for soundtrack maybe, but I don't,
I do like the soundtrack to this movie. I'm a big sucker for movies about musicians sometimes. Like, there's something I really like about it. There's another Japanese movie, it's called Solanin, and it has a similar feel to this movie where it's about a girl who follows her like musician boyfriend.
Yeah.
That one's a bit more like focus.
I might even preferred it if they had just focused on Jay's story. But the two of them together, it kind of amounts to not really that much.
I feel like there's a longer story on the cutting room floor. Because I feel like they probably ran out of budget because of how meticulously crafted the shots are. And Netflix wants to spend their money on making, you know, more like other slop. They need to make all those reality show stuff. So they had to take away the budget from this.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of a massive shame because I do agree that I think they both have interesting stories.
Yeah.
But it's an hour and 30 minutes is not long enough for these stories to come to its full potential.
Yeah, especially when you're shoehorning in a romance in there. And that's kind of like what made me lose a bit of interest in this film, is that it's so pretty, it's so nice to look at, but it also felt like it was kind of trying to trick me into feeling something, whereas like I just didn't.
The thing is, that's all movies. We're all manipulating you, Dan, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but
some films do it better than others.
Yeah, I don't think this worked in that way, and it should have, like, because of how good it looks and how good it sounds as well. But yeah, it's just like it was so disjointed that I just couldn't feel anything for these characters, which is a real shame because it's a good looking film.
I didn't actually have that issue too much. I think I was still, for what I was given, I was still sort of taken in by just the detail of the film. And I think there is enough environmental storytelling that tells enough about each of the characters. And I think there's enough visual motifs for me to sort of make up my mind about each of the characters. I do agree that the emotional impact is still probably not there. But I think with just how vivid the drawings are, I think it still carries it across, like with just the medium, or how well they've used the medium. I think it still is quite a strong piece for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this is. I think this is the first time director's debut. Like I don't know if this was a full corporate decision to just be like, make a Makoto Shinkai movie, but it's future Korea, and then he just left. But I still feel like there's just a lot of, there's just so much detail in everything that I just sort of found myself just enjoying the vibe of the world, I guess, the atmosphere. It's
got a good vibe. Yeah. They got a good meet cute going on, but I don't know. I think my main issue is with the romance. It felt like kind of just shoehorned in for the sake of having a romance. Felt a bit K-drama in that way, Thavy, to be honest.
I don't think this movie feels like a K-drama. I think this movie feels more like a Japanese movie. Like one of those older Japanese films, because K-dramas,
there's a lot of will they or won't they in the K-drama.
So there's a lot more like long stares, and there's swooning in this one, but I think it's more, they don't have time in the runtime to do super long swoons and like will they, won't they. That's like, you know, they will. And I think there is definitely like a thematic element that I would have found a lot more interesting. Just the whole metaphor of the long distance and just like, you know, you're fucking going to Mars and I'm just gonna be stuck here,
Yeah.
like making music. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not really explored that much.
She told him she wanted to go to Mars like right off the bat, and then he got upset about it when he found out like how dangerous it is. Of course, it's fucking dangerous. It's space travel.
It's Mars.
What do you?
Haven't you seen the Mars?
What do you think, Jay? You think she's just gonna catch the bus to Mars and it's all gonna be good? No, it's dangerous.
No, I reckon he was probably just like, oh yeah, it's just Mars. Probably wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Like he actually, he probably thought she was going to grow out of it because it's like, yeah, I'm super hot, so it's fine. It's like, don't worry about it. Like I got my music.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, he's a pretty laid back dude, I guess.
But I really like the use of technology in this film. It's that mixture of older vintage technology that has been updated to suit this sort of futurism. It reminds me of that photo book that I bought when I went to Sydney.
Oh yeah,
like a couple of years ago. It's very much reminiscent of that, and it's just a really cool art style.
Yeah,
and I think I would say this is what sets it apart from a typical, you know, Makoto Shinkai or maybe a Mamoru Hosoda film. Is the futurism of it. And just how nice it looks. I think it just takes a while to come up with a lot of prototyping for that stuff. And there's so many...
Unless they got that photo book as well, Thavy.
yeah, true. They bought the same photo book.
They probably just went to Kinokuniya and got it. And they're like, oh yeah, let's make a movie.
Yeah. And like, I enjoyed the voice acting. I think, you know, Kim Tae-ri did a good job.
English voice of Jay is Justin H. Min, Thavy, of Wong Fu fame.
Yeah. Well, that's the English version. I think there's another guy.
Hong Kyung.
Yeah, just Justin Min. He's all right. He's
all right.
He was in Beef and he was in After Yang as well. So he's like evolved from like
shortcomings. Yeah.
I hear that review that we never released.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this movie has a lot of flaws, but
it's fine. I think it's okay.
Yeah. No, I definitely recommend it.
I put it up there with Belle. Remember Belle?
With Belle? Yeah, I really like Belle as well.
Yeah.
I'm one of the I just really like the art.
Yeah.
I think Belle is a bit more like thematic. There's a lot more feels in Belle. But yeah, no, I just really like this art style. There's just so much. Yeah, I keep saying it, and I'm going to, but there's just so much detail. There's so much to just look at. Like you can pause at any point in this movie, and then it's just like, wow, that just looks really cool. And I'm actually a big fan of these kind of cute romance movies. Despite, I don't know, a lot of people seem to think I don't.
You love K-dramas. You have more patience for K-dramas than I do, Thavy.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like, I enjoy the fantasy element of Asian romance drama because they're just a little bit different to, like, it's just, culturally, it's just different in terms of what people generally tend to like to do in their spare time or when they go. It's much more about exploring the city and going to, you know, like fairs and shit, or just like very cutesy coupley kind of stuff, where I think the Western version is like going out partying and drinking. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, you know. Yeah, but there's no there's no sassy gay friend in there for the sake of it, and there's a
sassy
other
friend.
bits of fluff. Yeah. No, there is, but she's not like a big. She's not annoying.
She might be gay. We don't know her sexual preferences.
Maybe she's gay. I don't know. I also appreciate like the switching of languages as well. Actually, because she's just like speaking. Because they're starting to speak English at the beginning of the film. I'm like, did I put the dub on or something?
Yeah.
I was like, no. It's and I think Kim Tae-ri has a pretty convincing enough voice that she sounds fluent but speaks English with an accent. Yeah, she is like a pretty premium actress. I mean, she won the Baeksan Awards for that show, which I might actually watch at some point. Who knows? Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, I just looked up the animation studio. It's Climax Studio and Red Dog Culture House. Climax Studio is known for Hellbound and Jung_E on Netflix. So they've done some stuff.
Jung-E. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those shows, but I know about them.
So I guess they're more like a visual effects studio.
Yeah. Hellbound is interesting. Marcus has been on the show. He really likes Hellbound.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, the second season is not very good because was in a bit of trouble, so they sort of just replaced his actor.
Okay.
It was like, yeah. So
these Korean actors just can't stay out of trouble.
The bad people. Yeah, but no, I recommend this movie. Go watch it.
Yeah, pretty good, and it's on Netflix, so why not watch it?
Yeah, why not watch it?
All right, let's talk about another Netflix Korean in quotation marks thing.
I'd say the production. This is more of an American production.
Yeah, it is.
I think
It is.
Yeah.
With the backdrop of Korea. So this is K-pop Demon Hunters. It is an American animated musical, fantasy, action, comedy film produced by Sony again and released by Netflix. Directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans. So K-pop Demon Hunters centers around...
I mean, that's the premise, right?
Pretty much.
K-pop Demon Hunters, it's right there.
So, I mean, like, to be honest, like the lore kind of washed over me and I wasn't really paying that much attention to when they were explaining like how their world works. But here we go. There are 3 girls in a K-pop group called Huntrix. So the girls are Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. So they are K-pop idols by day, but they are also demon hunters. So under the guidance of their mentor, Celine, they hunt demons to protect their world. So the demons, they feed on the souls of people, I guess. And there's like there's a barrier that keeps the demons out of the real world generally. And like Huntrix uses fighting and also the power of song to like consolidate that wall and keep the demons from entering the world, basically.
But there's like this big the Honmoon thing, which I also didn't.
So the Honmoon is the wall.
Yeah.
I think the Honmoon is the wall that divides the 2 worlds. So that like weakens from time to time, and they have to strengthen it by singing and also fighting.
But apparently they for some reason they're the ones that are going to seal it off for good, I guess. So yeah, that was just said like, we can forever be free until we're not.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But that's like
point.
that's next generation's K-pop Demon Hunters' jobs to worry about.
So again, not
like,
really a spoilery movie, this one, but if you want to watch it, maybe go to somewhere else, go watch it before coming back to here.
Very simple film, and a film that I didn't think.
We were very skeptical about this film.
We were super skeptical. I saw the trailer for this movie a few months ago, and I was like, this looks like garbage.
It looks like slop.
I saw it. It looks like slop. I'm just like, oh my God.
Looks like American pandering to the Asian audience, trying to capitalize on the growth of the K-pop movement in the West and like just churning out some slop.
Yeah. And like, even though I was very pleasantly surprised by this movie, I would still sacrifice this movie not being made for a better Lost in Starlight. But anyway, this movie was made. But no, I was walking in, I was expecting to really hate this movie. And I think I tried jumping into this movie maybe 2 or 3 times. And the first 10, 15 minutes of this movie, I was very, very resistant. Like there was just so much I didn't like about this movie.
So you get the typical opening where Huntrix is introduced and they're being all badass, and they've got their badass song, like How It's Done, I think it's called. It's like a Blackpink style, like aggressive track.
I think there's just so much. I'm just gonna call it Gen Z iconography in this movie that really like irked me. It's all about followers. It's about looking at your phone all the time, and then it's all about like really loud, annoying humor, like very. Key jangling.
Yeah, Ken Jeong is doing that type of humor that you hate where like somebody will say something and then he'll say the same thing is happening.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was even messaging you. I was like, man, I'm watching this and like I'm really not enjoying it. And you're just like, I actually like this movie. Like what? Like that's quite surprising. I didn't believe you at first, but it took me a couple of days because I was busy with some other stuff, and then I finally sat down and I'm like, all right, we're talking about this movie, so I better sit down and watch it. And there's a point where the movie just becomes much better. It's when the villains actually come to the forefront and they take the form of the K-pop boy band.
Yep.
Saba?
The Saja boys.
Saja, yeah. And they have Soda Pop, which is it is such a BTS song.
Yeah.
That and it's actually quite catchy as well.
Yeah.
Like I can
That's
kind
the
of hear
thing,
it in my head at some point.
I think the thing that I enjoyed about this film is that it feels self-aware in the way that they portray like boy bands like the Saja boys. Like they're obviously kind of a parody, I guess, of K-pop boy groups. Like you got the pretty one, you got the guy that's covering his face with his hair, the Daesung of the group.
And there's one who's got like just like really thick abs, the Taekyon of the group.
But it's kind of heightened to the point where it's like kind of gross and like not very cool, but at the same time, like the song is actually pretty earnest as well. Like it skirts this line of being a very earnest portrayal, but also almost being satire.
I get what you mean, definitely.
Yeah.
And speaking of the music in general, I was very surprised by the songs in this film.
There's some fucking bangers in this movie, Thavy.
Like. Because I think I first heard about this movie when Twice said they were doing a song.
Yeah.
And even though I knew Twice was attached to it, I was like, yeah, the movie still looks kind of shit. Like, I love Twice. But like, you know, I'm not going to say everything that they do or attach themselves to is going to be really good. But on the other hand, I'm really sorry Twice. I doubted that you'd be part of
Unbelievable.
That was actually.
I can't believe you doubted them.
I'm a disgusting human being.
So they worked on the song. What's it called?
Takedown.
Takedown. That's it. Yeah, pretty good song.
And the Strategy makes an appearance in this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second highest song according to the Huntrix universe. Huntrix is way better than Twice according like they're
it's like the songs in this movie are better than they have any right to be. Like they could have really half-assed these songs, but like there's some good songs. Golden is really good, which is like the main Huntrix song. There's like a duet between the main one, Rumi and Jinu of the Saja boys. There's a duet, and I really enjoyed that. Song. There's a song that the Saja boys sing, Your Idol. It's like their evil song. They're singing about how idols keep fans obsessed and become everything that they desire to help them cope with the misery of the world. They're like, anytime it hurts, play another verse. That's some nuanced shit, Thavy. Nuanced shit. No. And again, it skirts this line of being really earnest, but also kind of parody, which I really enjoyed, and I was fascinated by it.
Well, I think the people that made this movie like actually like K-pop, right? Or they. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any behind the scenes.
The songs were written by like some K-pop people and some people that work in that industry, like Danny Chung. AJ is like a Korean musician who did the voice of Rumi during those songs. So it's a different voice cast when they're singing and when they're acting. Also, Andrew Choi does some vocals for Jinu. So like they're people.
Andrew Choi?
I mean, he's also a Korean musician. I think he was on one of those game shows where they select the next best Korean singer or whatever. So they're all people that I haven't really heard of, but they're all like professionals within this space. So to get these people in to not only write the songs but also perform the songs, I think makes a lot of sense. Like you're not getting like huge names. You're not getting fucking Lalisa or Rosé or something. But you're still getting quality work, you know?
You're getting Twice, right? Are they the scraps in the K-pop universe?
the three members of Twice that they got, some might consider scraps. Not me, Thavy. I adore all of them, but some people might.
Well, I didn't think that. Why did you bring that up?
I don't know, Tom. No, I really like them. Jeonyoung, Jihyo, and Chaeyoung. I like that they chose these three to do that song because they seem like the most aggressive of the three members.
They got the most aggressive. It wouldn't work. Like a Miss Summer version maybe wouldn't work unless... Because it depends on the characters, because the characters are sort of more like westernized, even though they are Korean.
Yeah.
But I will have to say this about the characters. I thought I was going to find them like super grating because I don't usually like these sort of characters.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I was on board with like all of them after a point. I guess their attitude or their toughness is balanced enough with enough vulnerability.
Mm.
And I think there's enough of Rumi's spoilers. She's like a half demon, I guess.
Yeah.
Or you don't really know that origin.
She's got the tattoo markings of a demon.
Yeah.
And she's trying to hide it. Luckily, she's working in Korea, so, they cover up, I guess. So she's been able to hide it for 16 years or 18 years or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't work as Western. No. Oh, actually, no. If they're the West, they just wouldn't care. It's like, oh, yeah, you flaunt that.
Yeah, people would just think they're bad tattoos.
Yeah. I mean, like, for a movie that you and I are clearly not the target demographic of, like, the message is quite simple and it's quite clear. And I think it's a fine message, like, don't hide yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it works in a way that Rumi and the others, they aren't like OP. Let's just say, I don't know, live action Mulan, for example. So she is actually sort of learning something and figuring out stuff on her own.
Yeah.
I also have to give props to Lee Byung-hun as well. He's just
he
ancient fire demon.
Plays Guima.
If there is a sequel to this, that they show more of who Guima is, because I think giant fire demon.
It's not very interesting.
Probably a little bit lazy.
Yeah,
it's just a giant.
I was really hoping he'd like take a human form, and it's just Lee Byung-hun with his shirt off, and it's like it's just Storm Shadow rocks up.
Yeah.
Starts beating on them. That would have been more interesting to watch.
It would have been like a stronger climax, but that doesn't happen. But maybe, I don't know. Like, this film definitely can sort of lead itself to a sequel, and there's definitely much more to expand, because there's still some questions that are unanswered, like who is Rumi's father, because she clearly has some demon blood in her. Maybe, who knows, maybe they'll connect it with Devil May Cry.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I actually think this story is actually better than Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Handles it better.
Yeah.
I think that the medium tells that story better, because it's not a hyper violent, action show. But that being said, the action animation is quite fun to watch as well. Again,
it's not our favorite kind of art style, but I think the choreography kind of carries it through.
Yeah, and like this movie, I'd say that it has more violence than Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
that's on the scale there. Like, how much? Yeah, a little bit more, a bit more of a body count. Like, at least when the girls fight, they are aiming to kill, not just incapacitate.
And for all we know, they are killing these demons.
Oh no, they're killing these demons, and that's sort of might be a criticism towards the end during the climax. Actually,
they just kill the Saja boys
because, like, look, there's this whole sort of side plot that's featuring what's his face, Genu, where, like, he said, like, look, demons, they start off as people first, but then it's just for their shame and they can't get over it, and then they're being controlled by Lee Byung-hun, Guima.
Yeah.
So, but then
they're controlled by anxiety, Thavy, and the voices in their heads. It's a metaphor.
Yeah. But then, like, he sacrifices himself, and even though his story is still sort of not that concluded, he sort of forgives himself, because you find out he sort of like did something dodgy in like old school Korea where he abandoned his family and then got to demon and got rich and shit.
I like that
but
twist.
After that
I like that he wasn't really that good a guy in the end.
Yeah, he isn't that good a guy. But after that, it's kind of like, I think they're sort of established, demons like not as bad or something. But then they just kill them.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like, I'm gonna kill you now.
It's Kimetsu no Yaiba rules, Thavy. You get the backstory and they get humanized, but at the end of the day, you gotta kill them. You gotta kill the demons, Thavy.
You gotta kill the demons.
There was a point in this film where I thought it was going to kind of take maybe not a darker approach, but maybe more of like an adult approach. Like when Rumi is kind of outed as being a half demon, and she's kind of, it's the lost it all kind of moment. She goes talk to Celine, which is her like mentor and stuff. And Celine's like, just hide it. You just got to hide it for a bit longer. We can undo all this stuff. And that's when Rumi decides like, fuck you, I'm not hiding it anymore. And like the, what's it called? The Hon Moon totally gets like taken away. So like the way that they're talking, it kind of seems like the Hon Moon is like society's perceptions or society's ideals, I guess. And the idea of getting rid of that so that people can be themselves. it kind of like it makes a lot of sense, especially in like the context of like a country like South Korea, where everything is very like, I don't want to say superficial, but kind of superficial. You know, you have to kind of act a certain way.
Like K-pop fans, I guess.
Yeah. So the allegory really works well, I thought. But then at the end, they just kind of make a new Honmoon, which, I didn't feel was like as strong an idea.
I reckon that would have been a cool idea, a much better thematic idea. But I feel like the general audience probably would see like the movie is talking maybe shit about them somehow. Like at the end of the day, when you don't have control of yourself, you're just a bunch of vicious demons. Yeah.
Well, because they were trying to humanize the demons a bit in Genu, it seems like that was the way that they were going, like kind of merge the two realms. Why not? Because, demons are just people that have anxiety, basically. And like,
I think it's too nuanced. I think that was too nuanced, and it would confuse people. The general target of this films, the general target audience, they need like a conclusive idea, like a simple idea.
They need bad versus good, I guess. But like it felt like the writers, they had an understanding of how like K-pop works and how this industry in particular works, and I guess that kind of makes sense because they're kind of in it, right?
Well, except the fact that the three leads, they are writing the songs, choreographing the songs.
But the overwork factor is there, although it is played off with a really light tone. But it's there, and like I like the fact that after the Saja boys are killed, all their shit's in the bin. Like all of their fan shit is just in the bin at the end of the movie, because that's how fickle K-pop fans are.
Kind of K-pop fans. I think that was another big skepticism of me going into this film, because like at this current space, I like listening to K-pop, and I like the groups that I have grown accustomed to. I don't like K-pop as an ideal. Is that the word? As a community,
the fandom sucks. It sucks being in that space with them.
I was wondering if this movie was gonna go more into the war of the fandoms, because it might be interesting if there were still some leftover Saja fans, and then they just like start a sort of like an underground resistance or something. Like I wanted them to explore the toxicity of fandoms, because because you and I we've done some K-pop videos, but I think you and I just only really do IU and Twice videos now. I just don't really enjoy talking about K-pop anymore, and I don't like who it attracts, because it just sucks.
I think the reaction videos generally are fine because people are there to watch their favorite artists, basically. But when like we did a news item on New Jeans, the New Jeans situation, and that was like, that comment section was a bit of a cesspool by our standards anyway. So like, it is a real negative space sometimes. But again, this isn't the movie to explore that, I guess.
No, it's not. Yeah. But like, I think that's my trepidation. I didn't want anything that glorified K-pop fans. And I think the parts I don't like about this movie are anything to do with the fans.
Yeah.
Because I just find all of the fans in this movie just really annoying. Like, I just hate them all. Just like, like, you're probably not a very good person.
I feel like if Rumi was outed as a demon, she would have gotten a lot more hate from the fans.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I kind of find unrealistic. It's just like, I feel like fans would just like,
there would have been all these YouTube videos where the thumbnail is like Rumi's face, like a really unflattering screenshot of Rumi's face, and like
Rumi has gained weight since like fans say, Rumi's airport fucking airport fashion, is she like a fucking demon or something? Like, take a look at this. Rumi has no makeup. She's a fucking demon or whatever. It's just like, it's just so I hate. It's funny because a lot of K-pop's music and a lot of the themes, it's all about. Well, it's not all about this, but the idea is that it's usually very optimistic. It's an empowering message, right? And I think that's what the image that Huntrix goes for. It's quite empowering. And that's cool and all, and it festers, not wrong, maybe it is the right word, but it sort of builds a community for them to grow. But there's no camaraderie between K-pop fandoms.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've talked to you off air a lot about the times where I'll be wearing like a band t-shirt from a gig, and I'll be stopped. Like, oh yeah, sick. Like I listen to such and such, and I always have such nice reactions with those people, with metal fans.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the themes are all about death and all very heavy stuff, but there's such a nice community.
It is a nice community. You did a video with Angel reacting to Knocked Loose, and the comments in that are super nice.
It's so positive. I love the metal community.
Yeah.
I want to do more of those videos. It's just a much nicer interaction between people. It's not about who versus who, but K-pop. And honestly, even in this movie, it is this group versus this group.
Yeah.
Essentially, it is very much what happens in K-pop. It's not like, hey, you know, we both like the same bands. Why don't we just listen to the music together? It's like, no. It's either you like this group and they're the best, and if they're not, then they're fucking shit and they should be killed. And they are, bitch. They are killed. Like Saga is killed.
Yeah, that's true.
They're dead. They're dead. The fandom, their favorite idol group, they killed the fandom.
They killed the fandom. Their shit gets chucked in the bin and they're forgotten. They're just forgotten the next day.
They might be demons, but you know, Soda Pop is a catchy song. There's just like, nah. I don't want anything to do with them. They're dead. They're forgotten.
Yeah.
Chuck their shit in the bin. Who cares? You know, kind of thing. And maybe the next one should like explore that a bit more. Just the idea of like forgotten fandoms.
Yeah.
I want the next K-pop Demon Hunters to go like full Nerjatu. just
that would be
jump
good.
straight into the deep end.
That would be good.
And just have a massive epic like fight scene, and Guima comes human form, and there's this really well choreographed action scene. I'm not sure if the fans of the show would like it, but you and I would really enjoy it. Just go full.
I think it's time. I think it's time to address it, guys. I think we've been skirting around this issue for too long. Fandom's got to chill. Give them a movie that tells them they got to chill, you know?
Yeah, they got to chill, man. I mean, it's just like, we talked about like the New Jeans shit. Like anytime I listen to a New Jeans song now, it just makes me sad because it's just like such good music.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that Hive has released since then is just like, you kind of dismiss New Jeans for this, but anyway, to not have our comment section to go full fucking festering.
No, I enjoyed this movie a lot. It was an unexpected surprise.
And this is like me taking back to the point where I was going on that massive rant about 28 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we've come full circle.
If I was a usual like grifter online, and then I watched this movie and realized, oh shit, I like this movie, but I still have to say that I hate it. But then you just have to do all this really performative, you know, the fucking Huntrix is just, you know, feminist propaganda kind of shit. Like, how dare, and then the boys, they're shown as like weak and stupid, and it's, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, fuck, man. Like, I like this movie, and I'm going to admit that, you know, it's fun. It's not for me, but I can admit if I enjoyed something, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to enjoy about this movie. It's got good music. The fight scenes are quite fun to watch.
The characters are good. Yeah,
the characters are good. I'm not a big fan of the art style and a lot of the iconography, but that's just a taste thing. I can accept that it's there. But will I watch this movie ever again? I don't know. Probably not. But I had fun watching this movie, and I was surprised, and I can admit that. Yeah.
I've been listening to the soundtrack since watching it. Lots of good songs on there. Check out Golden. Golden's good.
I haven't been listening to the soundtrack.
Soda Pop.
I'm sure it's good. You know? Soda Pop is a catchy song. It's probably arguably my favorite song in the movie.
Yeah, this movie is pretty fun. It's pretty funny sometimes. Not all the time, but it's pretty funny sometimes.
You know what? It's really nice to be proven wrong in this point when you're just having fun, and I think that's the joy of enjoying movies, entertainment.
Anything can be good.
Thing, you know?
You just got to put a bit of effort into it.
Just and putting twice in it
doesn't
helps
hurt
it as well.
It doesn't hurt. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you know, it's just enjoy it for what it is. And I think the internet seems to be taking to this movie well. I don't think it's that mainstream. But apparently it's number one.
It is
on
number
Netflix.
one. It didn't start off as number
Yeah.
one, and now it's number one. So I think word of mouth has been positive.
Yeah,
I just hope
yeah.
it's not one of those things that everyone says is really good, but nobody actually watched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's too many.
Just like Wong Fu, yeah.
Too many of those
I'm
things.
surprised those guys haven't covered it, yeah. I mean, they've got all their, like, they've done, like, a lot of collabs with some of the people who've acted. Like, I know, like, Arden Cho has been on that channel a few times, and she did Rumi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, like, Yu Ji-young, she's in the Until Dawn movie where she gets killed a lot. Yeah. Kim Yoon-ji from Lost.
Oh, okay.
Lost fam is on here as well.
Yeah.
Daniel Day Kim. Yeah.
Who's Daniel Day Kim playing?
He plays the doctor guy, I think.
Oh, all right.
Sheila Han, that's it. Yeah.
Good.
And he sells like the fake juice when Rumi has like sore throat issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
good stuff.
Yeah. Sequel. Go. For people who don't know what Nerja 2 is, you can either listen to our episode. You should probably just watch it instead of listening to our episode.
Somehow watch
it first and then listen to it. Yeah. But you'll see what we mean. But it goes like from DreamWorks style, like fun animation, then like death.
Yeah.
Then just a massive, just like you killed my father kind of style.
If you're a fan of tonal shifts, Nerja 2's got one. It's a good one.
Yeah. Maybe instead of like K-pop demon hunters, there could be Swedish ninja monk zombie killers.
Sure.
You know?
Why not?
Yeah.
Anything. It's
team up.
It's 2025, Thavy. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Still, I'm so surprised by this movie. Yeah.
Sony.
Okay, now
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
in this episode of random crap. But guys, what did you think of these 4 movies that we reviewed today? Which one was your favorite? Are there any that caught you off guard? Let us know. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 2asianblokes to see what we're up to. Just keep an open mind, right? Like, you know,
yeah, keep an open
you
mind.
might be surprised. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Just go and enjoy film. Like, you don't have to stamp a film down unless it's like a really shit Disney movie. That's maybe my only exception. It's a bit hypocritical, but you know, it's a Disney AI film. You're allowed to shit on those. It's fine.
I watched
with my permission.
I watched The Wild Robot recently. Fucking good film, man.
Apparently it's good.
Fucking good.
Is that Disney?
It's
not Disney.
No,
though.
it's DreamWorks. Good shit.
Oh, yeah. Apparently Elio is out.
Oh yeah, it's not doing
people
well.
don't
is it?
like it.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know if people don't like it, but people don't know it exists, it seems.
Yeah, I didn't know. Apparently 28 Years has earned more money than Elio.
Yeah.
Which is kind of that's scary because it's an R-rated, zombie film.
Surprising.
But apparently people don't like that movie. People just don't like anything. People just like TikTok. Yeah. Get off your phones and go watch movies. That's my, whether you like it or not, just
or watch a movie on your phone if that's how you do it.
No. Don't even do that. Put your phone away.
No? Okay.
Turn your phone off.
All right.
Like just sit your ass down.
No,
and watch a movie.
use your phone to play one of our videos on silent while you watch a movie. That'll really help with our numbers.
You can do that, yeah. No, how about You're allowed to do that.
If you could.
All right, I think that's us before we lose the plot.
We'll see you later, guys.
All right, see you later. Fuck me, it's cold.